Welcome to today's Explainer. We're completely bypassing the mainstream hype today. No flashy AI image generators or celebrity voices here. Instead, we're evaluating these AI models strictly from the perspective of a professional developer. We want to figure out what actually helps you ship real code, what integrates perfectly into your IDE and CLI, and ultimately, what just makes your life easier.
Look, every developer knows the absolute pain of blindly trusting a bad AI suggestion. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at a screen, wondering why a seemingly harmless little refactor just took down the entire staging environment at 2 a.m. Today, we're hunting for the model that avoids burning down production. We're looking for precision, deep contextual understanding, and absolute reliability.
Okay, let's dive into this. Ask yourself genuinely, is your current AI tool actually fitting seamlessly into your daily workflow, or are you constantly fighting it? Are you spending more time fixing its convoluted logic than it would have taken to just write the function yourself in the first place? Because honestly, if it feels like a fight, you might just be using the wrong tool for the job.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, Claude versus ChatGPT for coding. Second, fixing real GitHub issues. Third, the cost-accuracy coding trade-off. And fourth, autonomous agents and long tasks.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, Claude versus ChatGPT for coding.
So, while ChatGPT basically made AI a household word, the actual power user favorite for developers is Claude. Think of GPT 5.5 with its massive 900 million weekly users, kind of like the iPhone of AI. It's super polished, has this huge plugin ecosystem, and it's great for general everyday tasks. But Claude Opus 4.7, that's your MacBook Pro. It's built specifically for writing and coding. No gimmicks, no flashy video generators taking center stage, and crucially, as developers have quietly realized, Claude actually pushes back on you when you ask for bad logic, instead of just blindly writing terrible code.
How Claude is actually built under the hood makes a massive difference here. Anthropic trains it using what they call constitutional AI, where the model self-critiques against a written constitution. And that results in arguably the lowest hallucination rate in the game right now. But what really makes it the developer's choice are those integrations directly into your IDE and command line. Tools like Claude Code, Co-work, and Design dramatically boost productivity. And features like projects, total game changers. You can literally drop 200 pages of context or just dump your entire code base into one project chat, and every single conversation pulls from that exact context. You can seamlessly build and iterate on entire web apps right there in the interface.
Moving on to section 2, fixing real GitHub issues.
To really evaluate how these models step up from isolated chat windows to messy, real-world reality, we have to look at SWE-bench verified. We're not talking about asking an AI to write a basic Python loop here. This is the absolute gold standard test for determining if a model can dive into a complex existing repository and actually resolve a real documented GitHub issue. We're measuring practical, production-level translation, not standard academic puzzles.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in these verified scores. Claude Opus sits at an incredibly impressive 87%. GPT 5.5, meanwhile, is kind of stuck in the mid-70s. On paper, sure, a 10 to 12% gap might not sound like a huge deal, but when you're actively trying to ship code under a tight deadline, that gap is exactly what defines the practical difference between a smooth bug fix and, quite literally, wondering why production is suddenly on fire.
Let's move to section 3, the cost-accuracy coding trade-off.
This right here is the critical ROI question every single tech lead needs to be asking right now. If you just need to refactor a standard React component, is the absolute peak accuracy of a premium subscription overkill? Basically, are you paying for a Ferrari just to drive down the street to the grocery store? And this brilliantly illustrates where the market disruption gets super fascinating. Look at cheaper, open-weight alternatives like DeepSeek v4. Released in April 2026, it's a 1.6 trillion parameter model that costs less than a fifth of Claude Opus to run that exact same benchmark. Then you have GLM 5.1, which was trained entirely without NVIDIA GPUs. It's hitting roughly 77% on SWE bench, while being 5 to 8 times cheaper than Claude. These models are providing perfectly competent coding answers at a fraction of the price. Now, yeah, there are trade-offs. DeepSeek operates under Chinese jurisdiction, which, let's be real, is a complete non-starter for some enterprise data policies. But if you're looking strictly at budget-conscious coding tasks, the math is undeniable.
Which brings us to our final section, autonomous agents and long tasks.
Up until now, we've really just been talking about standard assistance. You know the drill. You give Claude or ChatGPT a prompt, it does that single task, and it stops. It just sits there waiting for you. But we're entering a whole new era of unsupervised execution. Take Moonshot AI's Kimi K2.6, for example. It's a 1 trillion parameter mixture of experts model with 32 billion active parameters. And the headline feature here is that it's built to run for hours. You give it a high-level task, and it spins up multiple sub-agents that literally work in parallel without needing you to sit there and babysit them.
300. Yeah, let that sink in. That is the sheer scale of Kimi's agent swarm capability. It can coordinate 300 sub-agents, running up to 4,000 steps in parallel to solve complex problems.
Think of it this way. Imagine hiring 300 interns who actually all know exactly what they're doing. I love this analogy because it takes this highly abstract concept of an LLM swarm and makes it incredibly tangible, especially for any tech lead who has ever tried to manage a massive, sprawling refactoring project. So while Kimi might have a slightly smaller Western community and maybe fewer out-of-the-box integrations right now, it is one of the very few models landing in the absolute top tier alongside Claude Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5 on those real-world coding benchmarks. And the best part? The weights are open. You can grab them on Hugging Face right now. It is a model fully geared toward the agentic builder crowd who want that frontier-level performance for long-running autonomous tasks.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. When you look at your tech stack tomorrow morning, ask yourself, are you overpaying a premium subscription for basic autocomplete tasks that open-weight models could handle for pennies? Or, on the flip side, are you vastly underutilizing this incredible new wave of massive autonomous agent swarms that could literally be doing your heavy lifting? This industry is transitioning incredibly fast, and taking a hard, objective look at these tools could completely redefine how you build software. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.